Hello. I want to talk about
Star Wars!
Turn off the flash, you fucking moron!
specifically Star Wars Clone Wars. No, not The Clone Wars. Clone Wars, or also known as Star Wars Vintage, Clone Wars 2D micro series, according to Disney+. Originally aired on Cartoon Network with over 3 seasons and a total of 25 short episodes, and released between the years of 2003, 2004 and 2005. That then split the 25 episodes into 2 volumes, each volume just over an hour long. This was due to the release of the 2 DVD volumes, which were produced at different times and to match the release schedule of Revenge of the Sith. Clone Wars was part of Star Wars canon, but in 2008, when the 3D series debuted, there was changes and conflicts to the 2D series. It was officially decanonised in 2014 when Disney took over Lucasfilm and it had been removed from the current continuity and rebranded as part of Star Wars Legends. Like the 3D Clone Wars series, the 2D series takes place after the events of Episode 2 Attack of the Clones and before the events of Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. Regarding the story, and yet again, just like with the 3D series, this transition part offers an interpretation of the many events and battles that might have occurred during the Clone Wars, involving our familiar heroes and villains, a big story within small stories. The show was directed and created by Russian animator Genndy Tartakovsky. Tartakovsky has been behind other huge projects, such as Dexter's Laboratory, The Powerpuff Girls, Samurai Jack, and Hotel Transylvania 1, 2, 3, and 4. I love Clone Wars. In my opinion, I feel to this day it's one of the best, or it might even be the best in the franchise. Yes, I would need to do a ranking video, but in the meantime, I'm confident it's up there. Clone Wars is up there with Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Sorry, I meant Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Also, it's up there with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Sorry, bloody hell, I meant Andor. So in this video, I'm going to review Clone Wars. I won't be discussing all 25 episodes because, well, I'm sure you can understand why. Instead, discussing and focusing more on the filmmaking aspects, or the TV making aspects of Clone Wars. Anyway, I hope you all enjoy. The 2D animation is beautiful. Right, let's move on. Only joking, but seriously, it's beautiful from the world building to the character designs. I find the animation work to be extraordinary. Every animated detail makes me want to screenshot it and save it on my phone and laptop. You can always feel and understand how the characters are feeling. Also, when the mood changes from light to dark, it has a huge amount of personality. The style is expressive, empathetic, and passionate about creating a different media format and perspective for the Star Wars franchise. By the time you get around to watching Volume 2, the 2D animation has had an upgrade in quality. Like a lot of other animated films and TV shows do when they get renewed and get more money. And that upgrade in the animation shows and uses so much more of its value. The style gets better and it always cares to entertain the audience, and I think 20 plus years later, the animation in both volumes still holds up. No disrespect to the 3D show, but I do prefer the 2D animation of Clone Wars. Clone Wars 3D does have great animation from all 7 seasons, well, except for that one episode in Season 1. But when it comes to my taste in animation and what I find to be more engaging, 2D Clone Wars just works better for me. When it comes to the creator of Clone Wars, based on his directing, Tartakovsky seems to focus less on dialogue and more on the action and suspense. For example, the ARC Clone Troopers' first mission, and the threatening anticipation. It's a perfect example of less is more, show don't tell, and an effective way to gain the audience's interest and attention. Another positive directing skill by Tartakovsky is with pacing. Clone Wars is so constant and tightly paced, every scene and conflict goes by so quickly. But it never feels rushed or bloated. From each scene, there is so much to enjoy, appreciate, and remember. And when a fight and battle scene concludes, it feels enough and satisfying. It's so well edited, the timing of the cutting is nicely done. When both the music and action cuts in, it makes it so enjoyable and intense. The cinematography is amazing. Every shot shows so much detail, space, and personality. The voice acting is great. There is a lot of effort and dedication to these familiar characters that have been performed before. To name a couple of standouts, there is James Arnold Taylor as Obi-Wan, who also voiced Obi-Wan in the 3D Clone Wars series, and Gray DeLisle, who voices Padme and also Ventress, who I thought was better as Ventress, and delivered an unsettling and a subtle voice performance.
The dark side is strong in me, for I am Sith.
I love the sound design in Clone Wars. It's all satisfying stuff, and especially when the Jedi do their zoomies. There is also this great sound effect moment when General Grievous makes his entrance to try and kidnap the Chancellor on Coruscant. When they both meet, Palpatine is like, "Who the f*** do you think you are, mate?" Grievous slowly moves his right arm in preparation to attack. And then, this happens.
Thug who happens to...
Take him!
The tone of Clone Wars offers a variety for the audience to experience. Like many other installments of Star Wars, it feels exciting, adventurous, weird, wonderful, funny, and at times suspenseful. In Volume 1, there is a chapter when Anakin and some clone troopers are hunting down Ventress, and I just love this quiet, suspenseful build-up. I find these kills to be a mixture of being brutal and, for some reason, pretty funny. Later on in the chapter, when Anakin and Ventress are fighting, you really feel the tension and stakes when this happens. When it rains, it's a nice subtle moment that it really feels like the stakes are really high now, and you also feel like you're on the edge of your seat. Although, you know who is going to win in the end. I love the climax of this lightsaber fight. The use of the colour red from the red moon makes the tone a lot darker. When it comes to Anakin's anger, and it gives a glimpse into his dark side, also his powerful dark capabilities. Another dark and very suspenseful moment is General Grievous's introduction, when he's about to attack and kill some Jedi Masters and Padawans. And just like when Ventress killed those clone troopers, you still feel that quiet, suspenseful build-up, and I love this even more.
No!
Anyway, let's talk about some less serious moments. There are a lot of subtle moments when it comes to Clone Wars' light side and sense of humour. There's a charming moment when C-3PO reveals his golden armour to Anakin and Padme, and I also like the moment when Mace Windu has just won this huge battle and is offered a drink of water by a local farm boy. Another example, in Volume 1, is this moment with Obi-Wan and the ARC troopers.
What was that?
I don't know, General.
That's not one of ours.
No, General.
That was Anakin.
Yes, General.
I just love how this moment unexpectedly escalates with a dry sense of humour. And then, in Volume 2, there's a funny subtle moment when the Chancellor and some Jedi have run away from Grievous and they are waiting for the lift. Like the pacing of Clone Wars, the action scenes are also so constant and tight. One of the examples I want to talk about is in Volume 1, and it's the fight scene between Obi-Wan and the bounty hunter, Durg. Then, a lot later on, Obi-Wan and Durg have a second fight scene, and it makes it a lot more challenging for Kenobi and the clone troopers. As you can see from both times, the action feels so constant and tight, but at the same time, it's so enjoyable, intense, and unpredictable. The way Durg doesn't give up with his many unexpected weapons and unstoppable capabilities. And Kenobi just keeps on going with the flow, like a professional. Again, the way these two characters are fighting each other is so tight and constant. You can tell though that the animators and Tartakovsky were having a blast. Another example I want to talk about is the battle sequence on Dantawan with Mace Windu. Basically, on Dantawan, there is a massive separatist army that has this ship and has a pretty powerful weapon. All of the clone troopers get killed and Windu manages to fight back by himself and at times with no lightsaber, but I'm just going to show you a clip of what he does. The battle sequence is incredible and very satisfying. Structurally, the way this scene begins from a potential defeat to a definite victory is so well executed. In my opinion, it is Mace Windu's best representation in all of Star Wars with his Jedi powers. This might be my favourite action battle sequence ever in the entire franchise. Yes, I know Clone Wars isn't part of the current continuity, but I don't care. To me, this is still a part of Star Wars. Regarding Volume 2, I really like the brief battle sequence in space with Master Tin. I like its slow build-up, which then leads to an epic execution. Another action sequence I want to talk about in Volume 2 is actually going back to the moments when General Grievous is trying to kidnap the Chancellor. Whenever Volume 2 cuts back to this big moment, it's very intense and an anxious cat and mouse chase sequence, along with great action set pieces. The kills by Grievous are brutal, mean, and great. When the intro of Clone Wars happens, you really feel like you've been pulled into this world, along with the montage and characters who will be present in the chapters ahead. Every story and chapter is short and sweet, with engaging individual and continuous stories and conflicts. My most favourite story would have to be the one with Mace Windu, having a challenging conflict with a believable character and a satisfying payoff. My least favourite story would have to be the rescue mission led by Padme, C-3PO and R2-D2. Of them trying to rescue Yoda, whilst Yoda was trying to rescue Master Luminara and her Padawan. It isn't a bad chapter, I just found it to be forgettable with a forgettable story, along with its mission, action and the conflict, and in the end I'm just like, whatever. Volume 1 of Clone Wars seems to focus more on action and war, whilst Volume 2 seems to focus a bit more on drama, politics and characters. Pretty much having a 5-minute break before it goes back into the action and war. When it comes to the characters of Clone Wars, and just like with the 3D series, a lot of the good and bad guys are all given something to do. Both Obi-Wan and Anakin show commitment and great leadership as Jedi, along with their familiar and completely different personalities. Anakin has great character development, from proving to be a leader of the clones, defeating an assassin, and being promoted to a Jedi Knight, leading towards being a saviour and proving to be a Jedi Knight. And once in both volumes 1 and 2, there are glimpses of Anakin's dark side starting to happen. That gives believability and growth before Revenge of the Sith happens. Again, like the 3D series, a lot of the Jedi Masters are used with purpose, reason and also having an opinion. For example, debating whether Anakin should or shouldn't be a Jedi Knight. Oh yeah, the ARC Troopers, they are just really cool. I really like how they're presented as these show don't tell characters, like Boba Fett was in the original films.
Do you remember Boba Fett?
Gotta give it up for Boba Fett.
I do remember Boba Fett.
And like Boba Fett, they are also presented as these quiet, mysterious and subtle types of characters. Regarding the villains, the bounty hunter Durg is menacing and shows no fear. Oh god, his insides and laugh. No thank you.
What? What the fuck?
Ventress kicks ass, Count Dooku is powerful, and the Emperor looks and sounds vile.
What is your bidding?
A Jedi named Anakin Skywalker. You will find him for us and eliminate him.
But the standout villain to me in 2D Clone Wars is General Grievous. His introduction in Volume 1 is mysterious, with an unsettling appearance. He's strong, massive, unstoppable, and terrifying. In Volume 2, he once again looks terrifying and at times exhausted. And Grievous is smart with his strategies to defeat the Jedi. There are other great little moments of story and character in Clone Wars before going into Revenge of the Sith. For example, and again, there is the scene when C-3PO gets his golden armour, Mace Windu makes Grievous weak, as he is in Episode 3, and also Anakin's physical development. Finally, the story of Clone Wars has an ending that neatly leads into Revenge of the Sith, when Obi-Wan, Anakin and the clone troopers are getting ready to rescue the Chancellor. I want to add by saying that everything that happens in Clone Wars, to me, it feels enough, before heading to Episode 3, whilst I feel that the 3D series showed too much in my opinion. So yeah, I love this animated series. Clone Wars says what it says on the tin. If you're a fan of the prequel films, the 3D series, and if this is your type of Star Wars, I would highly recommend this. Beautiful 2D animation, passionate directing, with other passionate visual aspects. Multiple tones that's for everyone and works well, very well planned and very well made action scenes, along with short and sweet individual and continuous stories that are all memorable, well except for one. Finally, useful and fleshed out goodies and baddies. One reason I wanted to make this video is that I feel this version of Clone Wars has been forgotten. Particularly that this hasn't been canon for a long time, and I hope everything I've said gives you, the viewer, an interest in watching 2D Clone Wars. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and please let me know your thoughts about Clone Wars, or what is your favourite or least favourite of Star Wars in the comments below. Just please be nice to each other. Feel free to watch another video. Have a wonderful day, and until next time.